Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're unpacking a massive, absolutely fascinating administrative puzzle, the map of India. If you've ever stared at a map of the Indian subcontinent and wondered, how it all fits together, how the power is distributed, or why the borders literally seem to shift right before our eyes, well, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to decode this whole shebang together. Okay, let's dive into this. Our agenda today covers the scale of India. States versus union territories, a look at India's incredibly diverse states, the 8 union territories, and finally, redrawing the map. We're going on a real macro to micro journey here. Section 1, the scale of India, understanding the magnitude of the subcontinent. So before we even start tracing lines on a map, we have to ask a fundamental question. How does a single parliamentary government actually manage such a massive, vibrantly diverse nation from one centralized spot in New Delhi? Well, to put it into perspective, India is the 7th largest country in the world by total area. It covers a staggering geographic footprint in southern Asia. We're talking from the towering peaks of the Himalayas up north all the way down to the tropical coasts of the Indian Ocean in the south. It's roughly a third the size of the entire continent of Europe. The sheer physical space alone makes a uniform, one-size-fits-all administration pretty much impossible. But landmass is really just half the story. The administrative challenge completely skyrockets when you realize India is the 2nd most populous country on the planet. We're talking about well over 1 billion citizens. You've got thousands of distinct ethnic groups, hundreds of languages, and wildly different local economies. The human scale of this challenge, it's almost unparalleled. Centralizing all rulemaking for a population this massive, it's just not viable. So the Indian Constitution provides this brilliant structural fix. To effectively govern all that vast territory, the country is chopped up into 28 individual, distinct states. This structure is absolutely crucial because it prevents a massive bureaucratic bottleneck in New Delhi. It actually empowers local populations to run their own day-to-day lives, meaning they can create laws that are carefully tailored to their specific local cultures and economies. But wait, here's where the traditional map gets a really fascinating twist. Alongside those 28 states, India also features 8 distinct union territories. And these territories? They play by an entirely different set of administrative rules compared to the states, acting as major exceptions to that federal model. Section 2. States versus Union Territories, decoding the bureaucratic differences. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the stark contrast in how these areas are actually run. Not all bordered regions follow the same political playbook. States operate on a federal model. They've got their own elected governments and their own administrative units. While the true executive head is technically the governor, the region is actively run by a chief minister who is elected directly by the people. Union territories, on the other hand, are a totally different beast. Their constituent units controlled directly by the central government. The relationship is unitary, meaning all the real power rests right in the hands of the national government. The executive head is the president of India, and these areas are typically administered by an administrator or lieutenant appointed by the president, not elected by the locals. Right, so the fundamental baseline rule is that union territories are directly run by the central government. But, like any great bureaucratic system, there are exceptions. Out of the 8 union territories, 3 of them, Delhi, Puducherry, and Jammu and Kashmir, actually behave a little more like states. Because of their unique historical, political, or demographic significance, these 3 have been granted their own legislatures. It's kind of this hybrid model. They still fall under central control, but they actually get to elect their own local assemblies to handle specific regional issues. Section 3. India's diverse states. A glimpse into geographical and cultural extremes. And this brilliantly illustrates what we mean by extremes. These administrative borders are essentially just containers for wildly different worlds. Look at Rajasthan, the largest state in India by physical area. It's famous for these vast, sweeping expanses of the Thar Desert and monumental historical forts. Now contrast that with Goa, absolutely the smallest state in the country by area. It's celebrated for this tiny, compact footprint filled with beautiful beaches and a super unique blend of Indian and Portuguese cultures. And yet, the exact same federal rules apply to both of them, despite their incredibly different scales and identities. To really wrap your head around this, consider that each state is virtually a country of its own. I mean, Karnataka acts as the Silicon Valley of India, driving the nation's massive IT industry. Down south, you've got Kerala, boasting serene backwaters and the highest literacy rate in the nation. Moving over to the northeast, Assam is the land of sprawling tea plantations and, get this, rare one-horned rhinos. In the central heartland, Chhattisgarh is home to a rich tribal heritage and the mighty Chitrakoot Fall, which is often called the Niagara of India. And then, of course, there's Maharashtra. It's the financial epicenter of the country and the glamorous home of the Bollywood film industry. The diversity contained just within these state borders is truly staggering.
Section 4. The 8 Union Territories, the centrally administered regions.
Pivoting back over to central control, these 8 special territories literally span the very extremes of the map. You have remote island chains like the Andaman and Nicobar Islands in the Bay of Bengal and Lakshadweep in the Arabian Sea. Alongside them are uniquely planned cities like Chandigarh and historical coastal enclaves like Puducherry. There's also the recently merged territory of Dadra and Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu. Up in the far north, we find the culturally rich, mountainous territories of Jammu and Kashmir, as well as Ladakh. And crucially, we have Delhi. Its capital, New Delhi, is a massive focal point because it doesn't just serve as the capital of this specific union territory, it serves as the administrative beating heart for the entire nation of India.
Section 5. Redrawing the map. Geography is a living, changing entity.
Let's move on and see how this builds. You know, it's so easy to look at a map and think of it as a permanent document, but in a dynamic democracy like India, borders shift. Actually, over just a few months recently, the map was significantly transformed. In August of 2019, the central government announced the abrogation of Article 370. This removed the special status that was previously given to the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Crucially for the map, this meant bifurcating, or splitting, the former state into 2 separate union territories. By October 2019, the region of Ladakh was officially separated and granted its own independent union territory status. Then shortly after, to streamline administration on the western coast in January 2020, the distinct territories of Daman and Diu were formally merged with Dadra and Nagar Haveli to create one single unified union territory. So following that bifurcation in the north and the merger in the west, the map has settled to where we are today. The massive subcontinent officially sits at exactly 28 states and 8 union territories. That is the current up-to-date administrative structure of the nation. But as we've learned, these borders are anything but permanent. So here is a thought to leave you with. As India's population continues its incredible growth, and as its regional economies expand and shift on the global stage, how might this massive administrative map change next? Are we going to see more states bifurcated to empower local governance? Will more territories merge to streamline central administration? The geography of a nation is always an evolving story, and we will definitely be watching closely as the next chapter of India's map is written. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking great questions and keep learning.